Hi, I'm Scott. I am the author of Reiki Spirit. This is a Reiki 1 learning manual of healing methods for practitioners. What that means is I think it goes well, it pairs well with your existing Reiki training, in that it is a series of talks, discussions, and methods that I thought about and present in my teaching practices that help to expand your Reiki learning beyond the day of attunement and the empowerment process. Today I'm here to talk about intuition and Reiki. So first I want to say intuition, everyone has it. It's not a unicorn. We all have the function to be intuitive for the most part, generally speaking. Intuition is something that's derived out of experience, meaning if you're intuitive about cooking, you have cooked enough that you know all the basic functions in whatever it is that you're cooking, and that your intuition arises that you don't need to focus on each of those steps and follow the instruction for each of those steps. You can make leaps between them without having to focus upon them, and maybe even have substitutes for some of those things as they're happening to affect whatever it is that you desire there, right? So my dad is really good with cars, among other things, and after years of experience of working with cars, he can hear a car and diagnose it. He can say that sounds like this, and that's probably that. And someone opens up the hood and looks, and they go, oh yeah, it is that sort of thing, because he has the experience of understanding all of the parts, and so his mind can make the leap from having to walk through each one of those little pieces immediately to what it could be, the problem with the car, right? Intuition is not always right in the way that we think it is. For example, if we grew up or we've experienced, a significant period of trauma, which put us in a place where we became very hyper aware of our environments, scanning people and places and things for danger, we develop an intuition about this, which may in certain ways be faulty because we're in a place of constantly scanning, looking for a problem that may not be there because we have a trauma which is expecting it to be there, and we can arrive at intuitive conclusions that aren't actually correct about a person. This is where intuition can be wrong. I'm not saying it's always wrong or it's always right, but that this is a way that could, with the wrong information, come to an intuitive conclusion that is not correct. Intuition is also a psychic, energetic, magical function as well. It is the same as intuition, which is developed over experience, and it's involved in other functions. So rather than go through all the scenarios and what those other functions can be, if I were talking about magic, I might say your higher self, your lower self, your middle self, Temple of Witchcraft. In Reiki, I will say that the guiding force of the intuition should be the Reiki energy and or your higher self. So what do I mean by that? Our intuition is sort of the transmitter of the knowledge that we're getting out of our practice to arrive at those conclusions, like the cooking or the car. But with Reiki, what we're training and learning to do is listen into the healing energy, which is considered intelligent and organizing in the way that something is supposed to function or operate for their highest good, health, and well-being. So there's a built-in information bank when it comes to Reiki that's being transmitted with the energy. Our intuition in Reiki is developed when we put ourselves in the place of listening to the Reiki, being in the position of the receiver, the facilitator, and the holder of space. We put our ego in the place of the listener and the one that enacts upon the information that's being given to us for ourselves or for other people. our intuition can be guided by the Reiki to know where we need to put our hands, what the energy may feel like, or what is next needed in the steps of a method or a practice of Reiki healing for that particular person. It is therefore the same, and that it is our intuition, and also it's magical, it's that unicorn, because we're listening to the Reiki to guide the energy, right? In relationship to our practice and path and our experience. This helps us as practitioners ultimately to really be in service to other people, because that's what we're doing Reiki for, is to be in service to other people, to be conduits for the healing energy for this, to help others, right? So our personal experience and our intuition grows over time as we maybe treat someone or many someones for the similar or same things. We start to notice patterns or similarities. Our intuition, our personal intuition, can be activated to understand what those patterns may mean. And also, we're developing our intuition with the Reiki energy by listening to it and the way that it responds through us for those that we're working with on, including ourselves, and what that can also mean as well. But not just what it could mean, just being in the space of learning to be guided by the healing energy to arrive at those places. Because ultimately, when we're talking about intuition and Reiki, when I'm talking about intuition and Reiki, I'm not saying that we're trying to arrive at the place where we're always right or always correct for our own selves, for our own presentation, but in that we're always right and correct in the way that we learn and we follow the healing energy, right? Because it's not really about us. One of the stories that I like to tell of my Reiki masters, Claudia McGregor and Cheryl Coleman, they were part of the International Reiki Healers Association, which is no longer there. When I first met them and they did a Reiki demonstration, I was a part owner of a metaphysical art space in Newark, California called the Astral Hope Chest. I had been working at a place previous to that. It was called Mystic Gems, run by Lorraine Fujimoto. The Astral Hope Chest was put together by Astrid, and we did that together. It was a very cool and just really formative and amazing space to work and to be in. And I met Claudia prior to that, and she came in to do a Reiki demonstration at the Astral Hope Chest, our shop, with her partner Cheryl. And because of the laws at the time in Newark, California, they weren't allowed to lay hands on someone without a license. And I deeply respect my Reiki teachers for honoring that, not risking their practice. And they did distance healing in the shop, intended originally for an audience. So we had a bunch of tickets, they pre-sold. I don't remember what the fuss was in the city, but no one showed up for this event. So Claudia and Cheryl got out 2 little dolls, little stuffed animals, and sat down with the animals in their lap and magazines. This was pre-internet, or at least pre-smartphone and tablet, and proceeded to read the magazines and place hands upon the dolls and send me Reiki energy. Not only was it very potent and powerful, they demonstrated something really important to me, which was removing themselves, the importance of themselves as directors of the energy by reading a magazine as they sent the energy. This may sound very lazy to people, but trust me, these were the least lazy people. They were really showing me in a roundabout way our place within the healing process. Maybe that's different if you're a medical person. Maybe that's different if you're a massage therapist. Maybe that's different, if you're involved with Reiki and something else. But just as a base practice, our job and our place is listening, following, and responding to what the energy is doing. It's not us putting in energy and taking out energy or any of these kind of things, which are more neo-shamanic practices. It's really just putting our trust in that energy and allowing for it to do what it does, which I think people underestimate Reiki and what it can do. They'll diminish it, like, oh, it only does this, so I need to do all these extra practices. But I think really, if we go into the history, and if we really dig into our own practices, we can see that Reiki is a very powerful healing method. And is often more limited by the practitioner than it is by the practice itself. So intuition in Reiki is really a lot about listening to the Reiki energy, which is primarily where a lot of these practices come from in this book. Intuition is normal. We all have it. We can have it about anything in which we are learning. And it's also a magical function that can be developed in a new level when we apply the practice of listening to the subtle and the unseen, and following the Reiki energy. It can also be developed in different ways that are very helpful for us as healers. So that's my talk about intuition and Reiki. I recorded this video a few times, so I'm really proud of myself for getting through it without making any major mistakes. It was quite a little adventure. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. You can find out more about Reiki Spirit. There is a website for it. It is starandstonellc.com. That's some blog posts, some things there about this book. But you can also find out more about me at thesacredother.com. And I'm on all the socials mostly. I'm not on TikTok. I haven't made that plunge. But you can find me on Instagram and Facebook are the two best places to reach out to me on socials. If you have any questions, thoughts, or applause, please share those in the comments below. Likes and shares are super helpful and appreciated. I very much thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed. Blessed be.